Hey, this is Soldier of 7 here reporting for Right Wing Federation, and this video is going to be a message to the Democratic Party. Now, apparently, as you know, after the US elections of 2024, including the presidential election, the congressional election, the senatorial election, and even the gubernatorial elections that were all held this year in 2024, there are talks about how some people are saying how the Democratic Party now needs to do some soul searching and so forth. And yeah, I didn't think I was going to do a video about it, but the more I hear about it and the more I see, like, Democrats, on TV, especially the politicians talking about, oh, it was because of this, oh, it was because of that, it was because of racism, it was because of sexism, or it was because, oh, we didn't talk about this, or we didn't talk about that, and it was, oh, we were too extreme on this, or we weren't extreme enough on that, or whatever it was. I mean, I'm just like, I don't know where the fuck it's going, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know if I personally have a message to the Democratic Party, because I mean, it's pretty clear I'm not really too fond of the Democratic Party. I mean, granted, given the name of this channel, make no mistake about it, this is no cheerleading channel for the GOP or anything. I mean, I pretty much have said I dislike, out of the two major parties, I dislike both parties, and although it's pretty clear that even if I dislike the GOP, it's pretty clear, given the name of this channel, we dislike the Democratic Party even more, and for some reasons, not that there aren't certain Democrats we find likable or worth voting for, but those type of Democrats tend to be more rare nowadays. So yeah, but yeah, when I'm just like seeing all this back and forth, and you got some of these commentators on conservative media, whether it's Fox News or some website or whatnot, where it's conservatives talking, and they're saying how after this election, the Democratic Party needs to do some soul searching, how they really need to get their act together before the U.S. elections of 2026, which is the midterm election, and that's also when the majority of the country's gubernatorial elections are held at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's more to it than that, but this whole thing about, the Democrats need to do some soul searching, and then you got some people who are saying what the Democrats need to do, or some people giving a message to the Democrats, and so forth, and how they shouldn't take certain votes for granted, like the black vote, the Latino vote, the Asian American vote, and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I guess so. Well, obviously you shouldn't. And I guess this case they did, but granted, despite my dislike for the two major parties, and yeah, and I'm also not very fond of many of the minor parties and independents and so forth, but yeah. And like I said, just want to say again, this is no cheerleading channel for the GOP or anything. Just because of the name, and just because this channel intends to be right-leaning, yes, I mean, given the name, that doesn't mean we should give the other side the benefit of the doubt, or at least just listen to what they have to say, even if we think it's a bunch of fucking bullshit, or just complete fucked up nonsense or whatever. So yeah, I know I'm getting off topic. I know I'm just going on a rant at this point, but what would my message be to the Democratic Party? Well, my message would be is And just keep in mind, like if there's anything that they had to do now, in order to like gain my trust, like me personally, like, and keep in mind, even though this is Right Wing Federation, keep in mind, I mean, just me personally, I may be right leaning or I guess conservative on most things, but there are certain things I guess you can say I can maybe be progressive or liberal or left leaning on, however you want to prefer it. I guess when it comes to Social Security and welfare, I can be sort of left leaning on those sort of things, but when it comes to almost everything else, I intend to be right leaning for the most parts, and that's why I'm doing this on this channel for Right Wing Federation. But anyway, not to get off topic, and I know this is going on too long, this is going on a rant, but if I had a message to the Democratic Party, my message would be get the socialist faction out of your party. What I'm talking is try to influence, people within the party, or maybe talk to your voting base, your voting bloc, and try to talk to them. And this is to not all Democrats, but to certain Democrats, at least the ones that, at least it's not referring to the ones I'm telling to get rid of, and that is try working on getting the socialist faction out of your party. Like the socialist faction, like the AOCs, the Bernie Sanders, even though, yes, I know he comes and goes, runs as an independent every now and then, but when he chooses a party, he chooses the Democratic Party. So yeah, people like that, they seem to be growing for the last 10 years or so forth, if not more, maybe even 15. I mean, you could say, yeah, Barack Obama, even though he may not have talked about socialism as much as they did. But yeah, I say he was a full-blown socialist, no doubt about it. And yeah, you can, challenge me on that. I don't care. I think that Joe the Plumber footage pretty much shows it all, and even some of his old writings that he put out on audio and certain speeches that were hidden. But yeah, not to get off topic. Yeah, I would say the one thing they should do is try to influence their voters to say, hey, the socialist faction is not what the party is all about, and it's not what America is all about, because they want more government control over the economy, over people's lives and whatnot, and so forth, as what AOC intends to be for. When you listen to her rhetoric, yeah, sure, I know there's other people I can name out there. I mean, like Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and all those other people. But yeah, I think the best thing, personally, if I was the Democrats, I think the best thing to do is, yeah, try to remove the socialist faction from their party. In other words, this would probably go out more to those in the Democrat Party, to any of those in the Democrat Party. This would probably go out more to the Blue Dog Coalition. Now, it's funny because a few years ago, I did a video called Where is the Blue Dog Coalition? Because it seems like they're fading away. And me personally, out of the two major parties, when it comes to the Democrat Party, I think nowadays those intend to be the Democrats I think that are more worth voting for. Because yes, they're left, they're center left, they're progressives, yes, we know that. But the thing is that even though they intend to be center left, but they're not far left, okay? They're not far left like AOC and so forth. And yeah, I just think that's where the party needs to go, in my opinion. I mean, I know everybody's got their own opinions, but I think the best thing for the Democratic Party to do is maybe try to move away from the socialist faction. Even if you can't get rid of them, maybe just be like, as a party as a whole, like everyone else that's not part of the socialist faction of the Democratic Party that's been growing for quite a while, with the AOCs and the Bernie Sanders coming and going, depending on whether he runs for president, and the Ilhan Omars and so forth. I think the people who are not part of that faction should just kind of come together and say, hey, I mean, technically, this party is supposed to be somewhat of a center-left party. We're not a far-left party, and yeah, and it's funny because 40 years ago, we were talking about how anti-communist we were, and yet we got some of these people who are praising certain ideas that sound like communism. I mean, what happened? I mean, yes, we're bigger on public services. We may be are willing to tax the rich and so forth, and this and that, and advocate for that, but we're not for full-blown communism. We don't even like the idea of socialism because, or at least not to a full extent, because it just doesn't work. Because we at least have an understanding of privatization and so forth, and the right to profit, and how it improves the economy and so forth, and how it can keep a strong private sector, and we know how that's important. My message would be to tell those Democrats to counter the socialist faction of the Democratic Party, and I would say do that before doing anything else against the Republicans and the GOP and so forth. And I know some people say the GOP needs to do something about the rhinos and so forth. Well, yeah, maybe so, but I think in this case, message to the Democratic Party is to do something about the socialist faction within your party. Okay, that's just my take on it. That would be my message to the Democratic Party in this day and age, in the year 2024. I don't know. Anybody got any takes on it? Please do tell. Willing to listen, willing to see it. The comments are open, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for right now. This is Soldier 7. Thanks for listening.